going to show you from start to finish what I do to edit a high school senior session. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our photos into Lightroom. I use a Transcend card reader, so I've plugged my card into the Transcend card reader, and then I'm going to come and click Import. And all of our photos are popping up here. So what we want to do is just select the photos that you want to import. I'm going to hit Uncheck All, and then I'm going to go back and select just the photos from the high school senior session to import in. So I've hit Shift and then clicked from start to finish to make the gray box appear around those. And then I'm going to just click in the middle of one of the small boxes to check mark all of those, and then we're going to import those in. So what we want to do, just to keep your filing kind of nice and neat, whenever you import something in, I've just created a folder that says October. I put all my raw files into that month, so just make sure that your filing system over here is correct, however you prefer to file it. And then we're going to click Import. And as you can see, they're importing into Lightroom, which usually takes just a few minutes. But in the meantime, while those are importing, I'm going to come down to my collection sets. And we have another quick video that just shows you some detail on collection sets, but we're going to find the collection set. And obviously it's high school senior. So what you're going to do is click on that collection set, right click, click create collection, and then I'm going to name the collection the name of the high school senior. Type that in. You want to make sure that this is checkmark inside collection set and make sure that your collection set is selected. When you do your drop down here, you'll see the collection sets that you have to choose from. So I have that check mark, and I'm going to click Create. So you can come back down here and you can see that it created a collection for Miss Stella. However, we don't have any photos in there yet, so I'm going to come back up to Current Import. And it's still importing, so just bear with me here a few minutes. And when those are all imported in, you're going to click on the photo up here, hold your Shift key down, and drag down until they're all imported. Okay, so now we've selected them, and we want to drag them to the collection. So come back over to this left-hand side again. You see Stella right here? We're just going to grab one of those pictures, and it's going to take all of them, and drag them into her collection. Just do a double check right here. It says I have 169 in the collection, which is, off the top of my head, I know that's about what I've taken whenever I was out working with her. So next thing we're going to do is Edit, and you're going to select None. Come down here and click on the first photo. Come up to Develop, just to make it a little bit bigger. Our next step is we are going to choose the photos that we want to do add a color correction to deliver to your client. So this photo, this is not what I'm going to deliver. I'm going to hit X. Next photo, that's definitely one I want to keep. So I'm just going to tag that with a P. So what you want to do here, this should be quick. Don't spend a lot of time here. Don't overthink it. Typically, it's first instinct when you look at a photo. You know right away yes or no. This is a great photo, but it's a duplicate. So I'm going to click X. Then I'm just going to come and do that to all of the photos. Just a quick X or a quick P. And don't worry, if you mark something with a P, after you add the color correction, if you're not feeling that photo so much, you can always go back and mark it with an X. I just kind of play it safe. If it's something, hey, I think I want to deliver this, I go ahead and mark it a P and then take a look at it after I add the color correction, which is something we're going to get into after we select our X's and P's. This is a good time if you have duplicate photos. This is kind of a good time to eliminate those duplicate photos. The system's running just a little slow here because as you can see in the top left-hand corner, it's in the process of converting the photos to a DNG. You know, sometimes when I import them in, I just wait until they're all converted so I don't have that lag time. So if that's something you want to do, that's perfectly okay. So what I did there, I accidentally hit a key and it zoomed in. Obviously, we don't want to look at it like that because we want to see expressions. If that happens to you, just come up here and hit fit, and that's going to bring your picture right back to where you need it to be able to see everything. Alright guys, bear with me here, last outfit. It's just real important. I want you to see this from start to finish, just so you can, to help you get your process down to where you can get through an editing session a little bit more efficiently maybe, or just pick up some tips that work for you. Then let me give you a quick tip here. See how these first two photos I took a little overexposed? Right away I'm going to take those out of the collection, because when we sync the photos together, which is something I'm going to show you here a little later in the tutorial, it's just going to make your editing process a bit faster if all of your photos are on the same exposure whenever you sync them. Guys, we're at the last scene here, I promise. Alright, so that was just to show you real quickly how you're going to select the photos that you're going to edit for the client. So we've went through that, and the next thing we want to do is we want to pull up just the photos that we've selected with the white flags. So we're going to come over to the lower corner, see where it says filters off. We're just going to hit a drop down and we're going to say flagged, and see how that brings up all of the photos that we have selected. And so that's your first step, just to go through real quick. I want to edit this one, or I don't want to edit this one. So next, guys, what we're going to get into is how to add a quick color correction onto your photo. Maybe do a little bit of pre-cropping. You don't want to do a lot of pre-cropping, and I'm going to show you exactly why, but let's start with the color correction. So the sidebar over to the right-hand side here, that's going to be where all your tools are in Lightroom to do the editing that you need to the photos. So the first thing I do, sometimes I eye it up. After you've been editing for a while, you'll just kind of know when you look at it, but a good starting point if you're new to this, click your auto sign, and then we're going to adjust from there. So we've clicked auto sign. That's still a little too bright, a little too contrasty. And something you can also watch up here is your histogram. If things are going over to this side, to the left-hand side of the histogram, it's a little too dark. If some things are coming to the right-hand side, it's going to be a little too bright. So we'll kind of watch that as well. I'm just going to do this to show you an example. See how we're over to this side and see how bright that is? So just kind of keep that in mind. But let's hit reset and just kind of start over here. So clicking auto is a good starting point. A little too much contrast. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Turn my highlights down. Highlights are a big thing. They could just blow out your picture, so just kind of be very mindful of those. Shadows, I see a few shadows up in here that's a little too dark for my taste, so we're just going to bring those shadows back out a little bit. And keep in mind too, whenever I'm editing this, I'm editing for a print. So not necessarily how it looks on the screen. You kind of want to envision how it's going to look on a print as well. So now I can see this is looking just a little bit too bright. Maybe bring those shadows back down. Maybe bring the highlights back up just a little bit. And now we're getting there. Okay. Clarity. Clarity it's one of those things that's a personal taste. I'm going to use about a 10. My vibrance, I want to use about a 10 as well. But then I'm also going to come down to saturation. I'm going to kick up my greens a little bit. So I just made it a little bit brighter. And then I want to do a little bit of pre-cropping here, not a lot. And let's go ahead and talk about pre-cropping right now. So ideally, if this young lady was to print this picture, she's most likely going to print the picture like this. Looks great like that. However, if you show the client the photo cropped in like pre-cropped like this, and they want to print an 8x10, look what happens. Now we've got a boot cut off, and we don't have enough room to move it up. So let me show you what I do whenever I edit the photos. So we're going to come back to auto. Most cameras are going to shoot in a 4x6 auto range.